Radhika Rasika Priya Charana Kinkaring Guru Tvai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyai Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam Yat Kinkreshu Bausa Kaluka Kavani Nityapurasha Purusha Shashakandamali Tashakadara Sanidev Sabanujayas Tatkeli Kunja Bhavanangana Mahajani Shama Bhajami Radha Ravinda Netram Smarami Radha Madhura Smitasham Badhami Radha Karuna Bharajam Tato Mamanashti Gati Nakapi Bhakita Vahino Yaparada Lakshay Shiptascha Kamadita Rangamaji Kripamayi Twang Sharanang Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Kanaka Jaladagatro Nila Sobhagya Netro Migumadabalo Malati Kundamalo Tarlana Taruna Vesho Nilampitambaresho Smaranini Britini Kunje Radhika Krishna Chandro Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam devotees. So, of course, we're continuing with the series on Sri Siksastakam, and we spoke last week on the second verse. Nam nam akri bahuda nija savashaktis tatapita niyamita smaranena kala etadasi bhagavan ki pamamami adurdavam idrisami hajani na anuraga. So, Dandavat Pranam Kapila Prabhuji. So, we got up to the point of describing the second verse according to Sadhaka Avast. Sadhaka Avast means from the absorption of the mood of a sadhaka. I've explained in the very beginning that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote the Siksastakam as a concise bhajan padati. A padati is like a manual for practice. So there, as I explained earlier on the very first series, that there are many padatis that have been written, but only this one padati has been written directly by the hand of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in the very first verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed that verse always from two angles of vision. One from Sadhaka Avast. Sadhaka Avast, I'm explaining, means the absorption of a practitioner or aspirant on the path. So Mahaprabhu is teaching how an aspirant should approach the path of bhakti, in particular the path of Rag Marg. So Rag Marg means the path of Raganuga Bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his purpose for descending to this world was described in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami. Prema rasa niryas karite ashwadan raga marg bhakti loke karite pracharan. Pracharan means to preach the path of Raganuga Bhakti, how we can obtain the mood of service in Sri Vrindavan. That mood can only be obtained by the path of Rag Marg. By the path of Vaidhi Marg, you cannot obtain the service to Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. It's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sakale Jagate More Vaidhi Bhakti Braj Bhav Paiti Nahi Shakti. So these things are all sastrically confirmed. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was writing this padati to teach how to do Rag Marg. And he based everything around the core practice, which is Nam Kirtan. There are 5 practices, there are 64 angas of bhakti. Those 64 were distilled to 9 things. Shravan, Kirtan, Vishnu, Smaran, Parasevanam, Archam, Vandam, Dasya, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Those 9 things are distilled to 5. Nam Kirtan, Sadhu Sangha, Bhagavat Shravan, or hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Mathura Vas, residing in Vrindavan, either by physical arrangement or at least mentally by meditation. And Sri Murtaya Shradaya Sevan, serving your particular deities with the mood of service to obtain their actual service in Vrindavan. Those 5 things, the principal anga is Nam Kirtan. So Mahaprabhu wrote his Padati based on the importance and the efficacy and the potency of Sri Harinam. So in the last verse, or the very first verse, he wrote in the mood not only of explaining the glory of Harinam in the verse, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nivarpanam. In this shlok, he describes the glory of Harinam to extricate the jiva from material bondage in the cycle of samsara, and to award that jiva the goal of sudden bhakti practice, which is bhav. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, this means the stage of bhav. Vidyavadu Jivanam, this is the stage of bhav. So he says how this good fortune comes about through Harinam. Therefore, he glorifies Harinam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So we go back to the very first class and we can reference all of those things. His mood at the time that he recited that verse, his internal mood that he was himself tasting, is called Harsha. Harsha means jubilation. In realizing in the mood of Srimati Radhika how this Harinam is non-different from Sri Krishna. And via this name, Radhika eternally has association with Krishna, because the Nam and the Nami are non-different. Like in the verse, Namas Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasvigraha. So Nama is Chintamani. The word Chintamani, we always say it, but actually it's 2 words, Chintamani. Chinta means your contemplation or your meditation. Mani means a jewel. So what you meditate on, the jewel of Harinam, reveals the vigraha of that thing. Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. The living form of Ras, Sri Krishna, is manifest by this name. Not a vision. Purnosuro Nityamukto. The eternal reality of Sri Krishna himself. Abhinatam Namanamyo. He's non-different from that name. So Radhika is experiencing this directly, that even when Krishna has gone to Mathura and to Dwarka, via remembrance of Krishna's name, Radhika is having all the experiences of directly being with Krishna. Because for her, her meditation on Krishna's name, etc., there's no difference. Therefore, in the Ujjvala Nilamani of Rupa Goswami, he described the love of Radhika, which is called Madanakya Mahabhav. Madanakya Mahabhav. He described that love to be Yoga Eva Bhavet Esha Pachitri Kopi Madanaha Vraja Vilasa Virajante Nitya Lila Sahasrada. He described that this love has the amazing quality. Vichitri means an amazing quality. The intensity of it, Vichitri Kopi Madanaha, the intensity of this love is only found in Vrindavan, which means that Krishna never really leaves Vrindavan. This is the point. So that Mathura and Dwarka are really expansions of Vrindavan as places that create a mood of separation that intensifies the love to the highest degree. You understand? There would be no meaning in our line of conception to Mathura and Dwarka except that they produce an astounding mood called Vipralambika Pradurbhav. It means the deepest mood of Radhika separation. In that mood, her remembrance of the name produces Krishna's actual swarup, not a vision of it, the actual swarup. So in this way, Krishna is directly present with Radhika eternally in so many leelas in Vrindavan simply by remembrance. So Mahaprabhu was tasting this reality, and he's teaching by his Padati how by us chanting the name, we can also realize Krishna because he's non-different from his name. If Mahaprabhu wasn't having the experience, he could not speak authentically that the name and Nami are non-different, because he's realizing that he's then speaking. Namnam Akari Bahuda Nija Savashaktis. This is the verse we did last week. That Krishna is not only present in unlimited names like Yashodanandan, Nandanandan, Gopinath, Radhakanta, so many different names of Krishna, Damodar, that he's fully present in all these names, not just by his persona, but along with the qualities of that particular name, along with the associates of that particular name, along with the Leela of that particular name. So Nija Sava Shakti means all these things are present in each of those names. In the name Damodar is Mother Yashoda, the binding rope, all the elder gopis who helped her to bind Krishna, the grinding mortar, Krishna Swarup as Bal Krishna, a baby. All these things are present in that one name. So each name of Krishna is fully invested. Bahuda Nija Sava Shaktis, with all of these Shaktis, all of these potencies. But then Radhika enters into a mood called Vishad and Dainya. So Vishad means like lamentation, because she laments, Dur Daivam Idrisam Ihadani na Anuraga. Yet I don't have love. I don't have love for Krishna. So why is she feeling like that? Why is so this brings us coming into our next verse, but the explanation of last week's verse, I didn't explain the mood of Radhika in the recitation of the verse, because I told Mahaprabhu was always reciting in two moods. So now he's reciting to Swarup Damodar and Roy Ramananda. There is a specialty to the fact that Roy Ramananda and Swarup Damodar, who in Braj Leela are Vishaka and Lalita, are having the opportunity to be in the Gambhira. The Gambhira would be equivalent to a Nikunj, means like the place where Radha and Krishna meet. When they meet together, it's a very special place called Nikunj. So the Gambhira was very much like that all these moods of Radhika, that's why the room is called Gambhir. In Sanskrit, the word Gambhir means deep. So the deepest moods of Radhika manifest in Mahaprabhu were being expressed in that room. Vishaka and Lalita, as Swarup Damodar and Roy Ramananda, they had the chance to serve Mahaprabhu during that time. Normally in Vrindavan, that very intimate service during the time of Radhika's deep separation is mostly done by her manjaris like Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Vilas Manjari, Gun Manjari, etc. But all of those manjaris, with the exception of Rati Manjari, who's Raghunath Das Goswami, they were all sent by Mahaprabhu himself to Vrindavan to excavate the holy places. So this gave opportunity to Vishaka and Lalita in the form of Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar to serve Mahaprabhu in the same mood that the manjaris get to serve Krishna and Radhika in Vrindavan. You have to remember that in the Gaur Leela, many desires, not only of Krishna to experience Radhika's mood, but of many of the eternal associates, are also, their desires are being fulfilled. So how do we know this? How can we prove this fact that Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, Lalita and Vishaka were doing this? Because another Sakhi named Tungavijaya Sakhi appeared in Gaur Leela as Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. He wrote one book called Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi. And in that book, he directly expresses the desire for this kind of manjari seva. You understand? And via his writing in that book, he experiences himself in the mood of one of the manjaris serving. He has eternal form of Tungavijaya Sakhi, one of the 8 principal Sakhis of Radhika, like Tungavijaya Sudevi, Rangadevi, Chitra, Champakalata, Vishaka, Lalita, etc. You understand? So, but he's absorbed in writing this book and taking absorption in the mood of serving like a manjari. So Mahaprabhu was fulfilling the desire of Lalita and Vishaka by being in the Gambhira to taste the mood of manjari seva, because that's the biggest gift that Mahaprabhu came to give, was this manjari-bhava. It's not that it's the only rasa that's present in our line. Sakya rasa is also present in our line. Vatsalya rasa is also in the Vaishnav line, not so much directly in the line of Mahaprabhu, but certainly like in Nimbarka Sampradaya, which is also Vaishnav Sampradaya, Vatsalya Prem is very prominent. You understand? So here, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came Anapita chirim chirat karunavatina kalo sumatpayatam unata ujwala rasa swa bhakti sriyam. The word swa bhakti sriyam means he came to give the mood of service to unata ujwala rasa, which means the mood of Radhika's love. That exclusive mood of service is predominated by manjari. So if you look at our entire parampara, beginning from the time of Mahaprabhu, if you count down all the Goswamis, all the way down to our present acharyas, almost all are manjaris. There's nobody who's in the parampara who's not the manjari. If anybody knows anybody who's in our parampara who's not the manjari, you can name them. Everybody in the parampara is manjari. So this is what Mahaprabhu came to give. But he's giving this opportunity in Gaur Lila of that service to Lalita Visakha in the form of Damodar and Roy Ramananda. So Mahaprabhu was reciting in the mood of Radhika in her different moods. When Radhika's mood enters into the position of, give me a second, enters into the position of what is called Adirud Mahabhav. Many of these things I'm saying, you're going to have to file it for later digestion. But if I don't speak it, then it will never come across and you won't have a chance to question it. This was the glory of my Guru Parapadma. He explained all of these things to us on a continual basis. And he would say, I'm speaking, some of you will get now, some of you will get later. But if I don't speak it, then, with my passing, etc., Gurudev used to say, because many of the most senior devotees had already passed, these things will become lost. So if we don't keep the tradition alive, the depth of the tradition, it will become lost. So in Adirud Mahabhav, there are various kinds of mad talks. They're called Chitra Jal. You can find them in the 47th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is called Brahmar Geet. Brahmar Geet is when Uddhava came to Vrindavan, ordered by Krishna. And while he was there, he met with the gopis. And when he met with the gopis, Radhika was sitting in somewhat of a separate place. And one bumblebee came there. Radhika addressed that bumblebee as though it was a messenger from Krishna. Our acharyas have explained that actually the bumblebee was Krishna himself. But because Radhika was simultaneously conscious that Uddhava was present and that he had been sent as a messenger, she was directly addressing Krishna and the messenger he sent. And in this Brahmar Geet, she speaks in 10 types of talk, which are the expressions of different emotions. Like I just explained now, harsha means jubilation, vishada means disparagement or lamentation, dainya, humility. So many different kinds of moods came out in 10 different types of talks. So here Mahaprabhu was kind of going through the same thing while he's describing the glory of the holy name. So now in this verse, Nam Namakari Bahuta Nija Savashaktis, Vishad and Dainya have arisen. So lamenting that I'm not able to, in spite of the fact that Krishna is so merciful, he has manifested all of these various names. Still, I am so unfortunate that my love for them is not there. So why would Mahaprabhu say something like this? Because in the Brahmar Geet, when Krishna appeared as the bumblebee, Radhika told him, Marupari Kaitava Bandhu, Mas Prashangari Sapatya. Oh, you bumblebee, don't you dare touch my feet. You've come here as a messenger from that person who's like a cheater and a debauchee. And now you want to come and touch my feet. You are so bold that when you came here, the kumkum from the garland of any gopi that your master embraced is still on your whiskers. Yet you want to touch my feet. My suggestion is, Vahuta Madhupatis Prasadam Maninam. You go back to those queens there in Dwarka and give them your message. Don't come to me with it. Later on, this bumblebee will disappear from the vision of Radhika, and Radhika will feel, oh my gosh, Krishna came, but I became so impetuous, and I was so upset at the time due to my garva, my pride, and my krodh, my anger, that I spoke to him in such a harsh way, now he's gone. So then she again starts to lament and become apologetic and very humble. So these verses are following those moods. So this is how Radhika is tasting this verse. Understand? So she's tasting the verse via these two feelings of Vishad and Dainya. That segues into her next verse, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recites, Trenada pi sunichena, taro eva sahishnuna, amanina monodena, kirtaniya sudahari. He's saying that this kirtan is so wonderful that always I want to have the association of Krishna. And Krishna is fully present in this kirtan. So kirtaniya sadahari. Hari is always present here with me in this kirtan. But the only way I'll be able to chant it is if I remain in a position of humility. So he says, first speaking from sadhaka of us, meaning like a practitioner, he gives instruction, Trenada pi sunich. So trena means grass, right? Trena means grass. And grass, especially when people walk on it, the grass sort of folds over and bends down, having been stepped on. And if you look at grass when people have walked on it, instead of going straight up, it's kind of tilted because it indicates the grass has been walked on and hasn't fully recovered yet. So he's saying that grass, which has been stepped on, downtrodden grass, Trenada pi sunich. The word nich in Sanskrit means to go down, to be below. Sunich means to be even lower than that grass which has been stepped on and is not even fully upright. So why does he say like this? He says, we may think that for so many reasons, we should be proud. Every jiva thinks like this. If you really analyze the position of the jiva, there are four things. And in his commentaries called Sanmodana Bhashya, this is the commentary of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he points out four things that always exist in the jivas, the conditioned souls. One is that the natural, if the jiva will take the Harinam, but not taking the Harinam, four faults are there. So the first one is that their natural humility is covered, because the jiva by nature is humble. But when false egoism is attached to the consciousness of the jiva, that humility, that natural humility is lost, and the jiva, considering themselves to be the karna, cause, karta, the doer, and the bhokta, enjoyer of the material facilities of this world, lose all sense of the natural humility and therefore express themselves Ishwaraham aham bhogi, like in Sri Bhagavad Gita. I am the controller and I am the enjoyer. And that false egoism and that presentation of aham, I, and mam, mine, aham mameti, is so dominant that the nature of the jiva, their very nature of being humble, is completely covered. So he's saying, listen, have the mentality to be sunich, lower even than the grass. So then a person will say, well, how can I be that? How can I be lower than grass? I walk on the grass. How can I be lower than the grass? So he says, think about it. This is Bhaktivedanta Thakur's commentary. You think about it. Is the grass not acting in its own nature? The grass's nature is not being violated. Grass is being grass. You step on the grass goes down very humbly and gradually gets up. It doesn't jump back up as though to challenge you. Why did you step on me? The grass very slowly comes back to its natural position. Does the grass complain? So he's saying, how can you consider yourself superior to the grass? Literally, because the grass is acting in its nature, but you're not. Therefore, would you consider yourself being in the madness of the illusion of how important you are, thinking you're the controller and enjoyer, acting outside of your own nature, but you're accusing the grass of being inferior to you? Very deep statement about Bhaktivedanta Thakur, and very deep expression by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, you should consider yourself Trenadapi Sunich, lower than this grass, because you're not acting in your nature as the Das of Krishna, but the grass is acting in its own nature. Then, Toro eva sahishnuta. You should, sahishnuna means tolerance. Realizing yourself to be in a position where your false egoism is taking you completely outside of your nature you should then become tolerant. Why? Because naturally, when you act outside of your nature, so many reverses will come due to karmic reciprocation. In other words, everything we do acting outside of our nature produces karma. And in many cases, for people acting sinfully, that karma will produce vikarmic reactions, means bad karmic reactions. But rather than to tolerate those reactions, because you can only do that once you start to become humble, rather than tolerate those reactions, people will complain. Why me? Or they'll blame others for it. But everything that happens to us, every single thing, tate anukampam susamikshamano, bunja eva atma kritam vipakam. Atma kritam means it has something to do with our karma. Most people don't know how karma works. Karma has 4 different divisions. Kut. The word kut means the tendency to do things that will produce karmic reaction. That is called kut. Bij means the seed of a particular karmic reaction. Haribo Parvati, Premvati, I'm sorry, she muted. All right. So bij means the seed of a particular action that's planted. And then that's going to produce a reaction. But the reaction doesn't come immediately. It is staged in something called aparabdha karma. Aparabdha means the stack in the bank of karmic reactions that you have that are due to you. They haven't manifested yet, but they're in the savings account of your karma. You understand? And then parabdha karma means those things which you are directly experiencing. I burned my finger. I stubbed my toe. I had some financial loss. I have this issue or that issue. That is called parabdha karma, or the karma coming to bear fruit. So it's saying, Brahmaji in his prayer, he was saying, tate anukampam susamikshamano. We should become tolerant of these things, realizing it's part of our karmic portfolio. Right now, in universities, there is a course you can take called theodicy. Theodicy is a central course to try to explain why bad things happen to good people if there's a God. So there's a whole university course based on that. Why do bad things happen to so-called good people if there is a God? You understand? Because people don't understand karma. They don't understand the fact that we're living in a cycle of samsara, one karmic iteration after another. If you think there's only one life and this is it, then you won't be able to reconcile how a person may be born into a certain condition, for instance. Because one of the biggest arguments against God is, if God is all good and all equal, why is somebody born blind, somebody born crippled? Because if it's just the start of your life, everything should be equal. But they don't realize that the soul's eternal and has been going through one karmic iteration after another. So they can't account for how a person appears in this world with a karmic debt. You understand? And that karmic debt being manifest in some particular birth defect or this or that. What to speak of even later on in life, the unfoldment of karma. They also can't digest. So somebody lives somewhere and there's a hurricane or something and damage comes to their property or something like that. People say, oh, this, God, why? You understand? But it's not that we don't have empathy for people. We cannot use karma as a way to become emotional to people, or to lack empathy for people when people go through suffering. Oh, this person had this very drastic thing happen to them. Oh, so what? We're not the body. It's just karma. We can't act on the platform, because another thing is coming up, that we have to always act in a mood to always want the welfare of others. This is one of the results of chanting Harinam, that one always wants the welfare of others. It's called para dukkha dukhi, to not be able to tolerate the sufferings of others. Even one gives up their own self-interest. Like a good example is our Srila Prabhupada. What self-interest could he possibly have to leave Vrindavan in his 70s while being in the most ideal place? That same place Srila Prabhupada was living in Radha Damodar was where the Ras Leela was performed. It's the place of the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami and Jiva Goswami. Srila Prabhupada, being a pure Vaishnava, eternal associate, was having darshan of all these things on a day-to-day basis. This is the perfection of life. Why would you then get aboard not a first-class air ticket with a hotel waiting for you on Fifth Avenue? Why would you get on a steamship where the seas are going to be so rough it causes you to have heart attacks? Then arrive in a place and have to be in the lowest area, the Bowery. And even if that all happened and you got here and saw the conditions, why would you not immediately go back to Vrindavan? It's because there's so much compassion which is present in the heart of someone who's realized Harinam that they're moved by that passion. Just as Mahaprabhu was moved to come to this world by compassion. Rasik Shekara Parama Karun. He's Rasik Shekara, so he came to taste rasa, but he's also Parama Karun, supremely merciful. And all of those who are in the line of Mahaprabhu are similarly supremely merciful. They don't want just their own spiritual happiness. They want that others should also come into the fold of the line of Mahaprabhu and taste these things. So he's saying, Taro eva sahishnuta. Sahishnuna. Therefore, one should be so tolerant like a tree. What is the nature of a tree? Even if you abuse the tree will still stand. Even if you, through all the different seasons, like winter, summer, the tree stands without complaint. But it's not only the trees standing there, but the tree still offers service, flowers, fruits, shade. So many things that different trees offer, even though they go through the most abusive conditions. Even they cut trees down to make all kinds of products and everything. You understand? But still, if you look at a tree, you don't hear any trees complaining. So we take these things for granted. Well, of course, trees don't complain. They're not human, etc., etc. But is there a soul in each of these trees? Certainly. But again, Mahaprabhu is making the point, just like in Trenada Pisunij, that the trees display tolerance because it's in their nature. So we should become appreciative that if you want to do Sadhan Bhajan, you'll have to become like this. You have to give up all of your pride. Amanina mana dena. Amanina means you cannot think yourself very high class, materially or spiritually. Because some people will give up thinking of themselves materially in very high esteem. You understand? But then when they come into spiritual life, they think, oh, I'm very learned. I'm very expert at kirtan. I'm a very expert cook. I'm very expert at managing temples. I'm expert like this. I'm expert like that. And then the pinnacle of that is, yes, I'm a guru. You understand? So all of these different things, amonina, this kind of pride will become an obstacle to chanting Harinam. Because Harinam cannot tolerate. But Raghunath Das Goswami is written in Manasiksha, another Parati how to do bhajan. Pratishta ashta drasha swapacha ramani riri mainate. Katam sadhu prema spashati suchihi. How is it possible that this pure praying, which you desire, will come into the heart when the heart is fully contaminated by the outcast, dog-eating prostitute of pride, which is dancing there audaciously? So all the adjectives that he used, dras, swapach. Dras means audacious. Swapach means like a dog eater. Ramani means like a prostitute. You understand? So he's saying, how is it possible that pure praying would enter a heart which is contaminated by pratishta asha? And if you read in Manasiksha, Raghunath Das Goswami saying he's giving this instruction after the instructions like Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, etc., that were written by Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita. He's giving instructions, the last snare of all of these things, even if you're able to control all of your senses, and you take sannyas, and now you become sannyasi, and now you become guru, and you take so much pride, I'm a renunciant and I'm guru. This is worse than even the Vishai. Why? Because the Vishai will be humbled by the fact they cannot control their senses, and they'll always be in a mood of begging. Oh, please, Shri Guru, help me. Please, Shri Guru, help me. Oh, Guru Parampara, help me. Oh, Mahaprabhu Radha Krishna, help me. But if one thinks they're very accomplished, I've taken sannyas, I've become guru. That's why Bhaktivedanta Thakur, in one bhajan, he says, Tai Sisha Tava Takya Sarvada. Guru Abhiman Tyaji. Abhiman means the same things as Amanina. Don't let me have the conception of being a great Vaishnava. Don't let me have the conception of being Guru. I explained many times in other classes that if someone takes the service to bring others into parampara, that function is the function of sadhu. Guru is a function. It's not a person. In our common parlance, we associate the function with the person. So we say, oh, Gurudev, so forth, so on. But even saying Gurudev, it means you're addressing the power of Bhagavan that's coming in the agency of a sadhu for the function of illuminating your consciousness. You understand? So it's not Guru is the person. Guru is the function done by the sadhu. So if a person is not a sadhu, and what does a sadhu mean? A sadhu means a person who is nirapeksh. It means they have no self-interest. Like in Srimad Bhagavatam, what's this verse? Dharma projita kaitavatra paramoni matsaranam satam. So nirmatsar. Nirmatsarya means they have no self-interest. They become satam, they are sadhus. Therefore, they can actually perform the function, gu shabdat andakarasha, ru shabdat andakarasha virodita, of removing the ignorance of the jiva and imparting illumination of bhakti. They can do that function because they have no self-interest. If you don't have any taste in bhajan, you have no realization yet of your own inner reality. Some realization should be there. Because if not, you'll lean into the identity of being sannyasi, guru, acharya, etc., etc. And when you do that, you again are simply spiritually replacing the upadis or designations you had in the material world. You just come into the spiritual arena and just replaced all the prideful designations you had with new ones, with new names, and a more sophisticated attitude about it. So to avoid that, one has to taste the beauty of Harinam. If there's no real taste coming in the Harinam, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Ras Vigraha, if there's no tasting of rasa coming in Harinam, then one will taste the Jad Ras of material designations and material enjoyment. And therefore, it'll be very, very difficult, Kirtaniya Sadhari, to continuously in Anugatya chant the holy name. So Mahaprabhu, based on the last verse, absorbed in the mood of Radhika, in Danya Bhav and Vishad, means disparagement. She's now speaking, or Radhika speaking this verse by saying, oh, looking at this Sri Vrindavan Dham and looking at how Krishna has vowed not to wear any shoes, because when Krishna was a small boy and he was taking the calves out, it was only in the local area. And therefore, he was able to take the calves and he would go barefooted. But especially when he grew up and he was now going to be herding calves all over the Vrindavan forest, Mother Yashoda said, oh, you should definitely wear some kind of sandals because there's many places with sharp grass and stones and thorns. You should certainly wear. So Krishna told Mother Yashoda, listen, Maya, it's true. This Vrindavan Dham has many sharp stones, grass, so many things. But what about the cows? If I have to put on shoes, shouldn't the cows wear shoes? And Nanda Maharaj has 9 lakhs. That means 9 times 100,000, right? So he's saying, well, if that's the case, 9 times 100,000 times 4, because they have 4 feet. We should arrange for shoes for all of them. And then I can also put on shoes. So this was Krishna's argument to Mother Yashoda. You understand? So Mother Yashoda did not win that argument. So therefore, Krishna, he's walking barefooted in the Sri Vrindavan Dham. And every place he steps, Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth, she embraces the footprint of Krishna and she encases it and holds on to it so that others who come through and they see the footprint of Krishna, they can become stimulated. So this is her service to gopis. When Krishna will take the cows out, Krishna's footprints are embedded in the dust of Vrindavan. And the gopis, when they go to do their Surya Puja or any other thing, they're able to look and see the footprint of Krishna, and this gives so much pleasure in their heart. Similarly, the grass that's there in Vrindavan, when Krishna will walk on the grass, all the grass will immediately bend over and take the foot dust of Krishna. So this grass has been fully bathed in the foot dust of Krishna. So for Radhika, she's saying, Chenarapi suni chena. Oh, how much I would like to be like that grass. You understand? And then she's saying, Toro eva sahishnuna. And please, when I'm in a very deep mood of separation, I should remember how the trees, they cannot move from one place to another. So when Krishna comes and he gives his association to any tree, and he sits with his cowherd boyfriends and takes prasad there, or Krishna lays his head on the trunk of that tree, or Krishna plays, like in Kirkadamba, there are many banyan trees, and their branches are intertwining, and Krishna's cowherd boyfriends play various games on intertwining branches. He's saying, but then Krishna leaves them, and they must feel so much separation, but they tolerate it. You understand? They tolerate so wonderfully. So she's saying, when will I become like that? Because for me, I cannot tolerate this deep mood of separation. But at the same time, I'm so proud. Amonina. I should give up this pride. What pride? That I am the most beloved of Krishna. That Krishna only loves me. I should give up this pride. Monadena. I'm going to give pride to all of these things, including the grass of Vrindavan, the trees of Vrindavan, Shri Giriraj Govardhan, all the other Sakis. I'm giving them all of the Monadena, means to give them all glory. By doing this and becoming free from all pride, at least one thing I can always possess. What is that? Kirtaniya Sada Hari. I can always possess the ability to give all of my feelings in the association of Kirtan of Sri Hari. So this was Radhika's mood in chanting. She's become overwhelmed by what's called Dainyabhav. Dainyabhav means humility. And therefore she spoke this verse. As a teaching to those aspiring on the path, I earlier gave explanation of the importance of the meaning of Chenana Pisuni Chena, Tororeva Seshnuna, Amonina Monadena, Kirtaniya Shadahari. So I want today, before going into the next verse, probably I'll wait till next week to do this next verse. I would rather spend the remaining time to ask questions about what we have gone over up to this point, and to get clarity on anything that's a little ambiguous, because there were many terms and many things that are mentioned which we don't often hear maybe, but they're really important for our understanding to grow in bhakti. So I will spend the time to explain these terms or concepts, whatever you can remember that you want to ask about. So any question, any comment?
Haribo, Dandavat Gurudev.
Haribo.
I'm sorry I didn't put my flag up.
No need.
Yeah. You said that Lalita and Vishaka appeared as Ramananda Roy and who?
Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar Goswami is Lalita Sakhi in Braj. Ramananda Roy is Vishaka in Braj.
Ramananda Roy. Swarup Damodar. Oh, thank you, Gurudev.
Mukundaji? Dhanavat Pranam. You were saying Nija Sava Shakti means that all the different associates are associated with that particular name or description of the Lord. That what
Not only associates, but in each name, the root of Krishna for that particular name, the root, the gun, the qualities of that particular name, the parikars related to that name, and the lila related to that name, Nija Sava Shakti, the power of all of those things are in each of those names, and Nam Nam Akari Bahuda. He's manifested unlimited names like that.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, before that, you said, again, you said, what's the verse you said? That Srimati Radharani, she could have darshan of all those names and all those different prakoshas all at the same time. That is completely mind-blowing to me right now.
Yeah, this is in Ujjalinimani. It gives a description of each of the stages of love. The stage of love of Radhika is called Madanakya Mahabhav. So love goes, Bhav is the first ray of actual praying. It's called Bhav. That Bhav cannot be digested in this particular material sadhaka body. So when you give up this body, you obtain a body composed completely of spiritual substance called Sandhini Shakti. In that body, one experiences praying. In the association of other eternal associates, in the mood that you have, if it's Sakya Ras, associate with Sridham and others, Subal, etc. If you're in manjari-bhava, it'll be association with group manjari, rati manjari, etc. Then that praying will grow to sneha. That sneha will be in the line of Radhika's mood of sneha. Because there's two types of sneha, Grita sneha and Madhu sneha.
Right.
So Grita sneha means like ghee. And that is the mood of Chandravali. You understand?
Right.
Now let me explain something here while we're going through this. The different gopis have 4 different groups. They're called Vipaksh, Surit Paksh, Tatashta Paksh, and Swapaksh. Paksh means your own group. Paksh means a group. Swapaksh means your own group. So I'm giving an example. Any lady may have her own direct group of friends. That same lady may have another woman who's like almost like a rival. That is called the Vipaksh, right? Maybe it's the ex of the husband or something. It's like a rival. I'm only showing this as an example.
Right.
Then there are persons who may know that ex's former wife or whatever it might be, and they are friendly to the former wife, but they're not completely opposed to you. So they're called tatashta paksh, means they're neutral. And your feeling towards them is neutral. Then there is surit paksh, those who are not directly in your own group, but they're friendly to you. They're not in your immediate circle of your 5 best friends, but they're also friendly. So in this way, Radhika has friends who are swapaksh, like Lalita and Vishaka. They're her swapaksh. Chandravali has those who are swapaksh for her, Saibya and Padma.
Right.
Then there are those like Bhadra. Bhadra is friendly to Chandravali and neutral to Radhika. You understand?
Right.
Then Shamla Saki, she is friendly to Radhika and neutral to Chandravali. So in this way, 4 different groups are manifest. What's the importance of having these 4 different groups? Why? What is the need? These 4 different groups, just like if you have a diamond and you want to make a jewelry out of it, what do? You get gold, you get a designer, and you create a setting to put the diamond in. Radhika is the diamond. The other 3 paksh, they are like the setting to put that diamond in to glorify that diamond.
Okay.
You understand? So by having Chandravali is actually Radhika's cousin sister. You know this, right?
Right.
Radhika's father is Vishrabhanu Maharaj. Chandravali's actual father is Chandrabhanu, the brother of Vishrabhanu Maharaj.
Right.
But they've been separated at birth, and they've developed 2 different moods of loving Krishna. They're both conjugal, but 2 different moods, right? And so Radhika has her group, Chandravali has her group. Then there are those who are neutral and those who are friendly to either side. But that creates an atmosphere in which the beauty of Radhika's love can excel. You understand? It's like the setting for a beautiful diamond. Understand?
Okay, so now you're saying, earlier you said from Ujjvala Nilamani, Nichalila Sahasrada, and now you're saying Siksastakam, Nijasarva Shaktis. So she's tasting all those different names of Krishna and all those different pastimes simultaneously.
But not simultaneously like we think, like in a sequence of nourishment. So Radhika may have one prakosht in which she's meeting with Krishna. In the height of that meeting, she becomes somewhat fearful of the pending separation. The stimulus coming from the pending separation causes her to think about the time when they'll be separated. Another prakosh opens in what she's experiencing separation. In the other prakosh, she's experiencing separation with so much aspiration to meet with Krishna that another prakosh opens in what she meets him again. You understand?
Oh, wow, yeah.
So this is a continual...
So it's like a wave. It's a wave.
It's like a wave. And in each prakosh, it's going back and forth between meeting and separation. This is the meaning of the verse. Na vina vipralombena sambo pushni ashnute. You can't have meeting nourished without separation.
That's
Well,
happening
the English saying is, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Right.
You understand?
Got it.
So Radhika's experiencing on a continual cycle of meeting and separation. And this love is called manjari-bhava. You understand?
Thank you.
And it gets really deep. One last thing, mind-blowing thing.
It's mind-blowing.
The nature of the love, though, that Radhika has is so high, right? That even in the separation, she experiences meeting. That's why the description of the love is yoga eva. Yoga eva means certainly they're always meeting. Because whether she's meeting or separated, the nature of the separation itself produces meeting.
I see. Yeah.
So it's only a feeling. It's only a feeling. You understand? So in order to accommodate that continuum of that feeling, unlimited prakosh open. But all of these prakosh are based in Braj, not in Mathura or Dwarka.
Nowhere else. Only in Braj.
Yes. Raja Vilasa Virajante. Virajante means they're illuminated in Braj only. Vilas means the pastime of all of these meetings and separations are there only in Braj. So that makes us understand that Mathura and Dwarka has a relationship to Braj as providing the udipan of separation. You understand?
Right.
Because in the Nitya Dham, in Nitya Golok Dham, Krishna doesn't go to Mathura and Dwarka, but the mood is still there. That mood manifests and plays out when Krishna manifests his pastimes in this world.
Thank you.
These are all important tattvas. They're very high tattva, but it's very important to gradually understand. So when you're practicing your bhajan sadhan and you're understanding these things, you can understand serving the mood of Radhika's praying, this is what it means. Because sometimes devotees will speak about, we want love of God. But then you ask the devotee, Jai Prabhu, Hari Bol, Dandavad. So I just want to know, well, what is the love of God actually? No, Prabhu, you have to give up this material world and give up sense gratification and develop love of God. I agree, Prabhuji, but I'm just asking, what is the love? So our Goswamis have explained, what is the love? And if you hear these things over and over and over again, and you're doing Harinam, Sadhan Bhajan properly, then the realization of these things begin to unfold in the heart. Understand? Haribol, Ganga Virginananda, you had another question?
Ganga was just asking me, and I just want to clarify it. So this, which was explaining and talking about with Sahadev, this is that wave. This is the same thing that happens when you're chanting the holy name.
This is what happens when you become mature in chanting the holy name. How? Because when you are chanting, all of the leelas are present in the name. All of the names, Damodar, Yashodanandan, Radhakanta, Radhavallabh, etc., they're all present in Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So where is meeting and separation in this Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna? Where's the meeting and separation?
And not the syllables, but the different mantras, Hare Krishna,
yes,
Krishna.
Yes. So you remember from the class, it's not just in the syllables. It's just in the syllables. It's just the what's called Punya Shabda. Punya Shabda means auspicious sound of Nama Bas is present in the syllables. But in the name, when you're conscious that the name Hare is the vocative in Sanskrit of Hara, which means Radha, and you associate the name with Radha. Then you associate Krishna, meaning Krishna, and you associate the name Ram. In our Southern Bhajan practice, the name Ram here does not mean Balaram or Ramachandra. It means Radha Raman. You understand? Why? Because Baladev cannot be there when Radha and Krishna are having intimate pastimes. You understand? So if you look generically, the name Ram, you could say, yes, Ram can mean Ramachandra, Lord Ram, or Balaram. But in the context of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna, the first one means that Radha and Krishna are meeting because their eternal reality is Yoga Eva Bhaveresha. They're eternally meeting. So Hare Krishna means meeting. Hare Krishna. The second one means they are meeting, but the separation is pending. You understand? Because at the end of a certain period, in their unfoldment of their lila, they will have to be separated. Radhika will go back to Varsana or Yavat. Krishna will go back to Nandagaon. You understand? So whenever that second Hare Krishna is chanted, it means they're meeting, but their separation is pending. I'll give you a good example. In the early morning, during Nisanta Lila, which is from 3:30 till about 6 a.m., at that time, between 3:30 and 6, the Lila is called Nishant Lila. Nishant means the end of the night. Now, as the sun begins to rise more and more, coming towards 6 o'clock, that time of sunrise, then the separation anxiety begins to come. You understand? When they first meet in the night, you understand, during Ratri Lila, and they're meeting, then they're fully absorbed in that meeting. But then they spend all night together, and now Nisant, the end of night is coming. So now, Hare Krishna, now the second Hare Krishna, they are together, but pretty soon they'll have to be separated to go back to their homes before the sun rises. Then again, Krishna, Krishna, Hare, Hare. Radhika is in Yavat or Nandagaon. Yavat or Vasana. Krishna's in Nandagaon. And they're both carrying out their daily activities. But there was a promise made, they will meet later on at Radhakund during the midday. That's called Madhyanik Lila. So now, Krishna, Krishna, they're separated in their individual places doing individual chores. Krishna, Krishna, the second one, right, means they're separated, but they're planning their meeting at midday at Radhakund. So there's excitement that we're going to meet. You understand? Like the date has been arranged and the place has been arranged. Then Hari Ram. In the second Hari Ram, when they first meet again, the nature of the love creates an exaltation, their happiness is increased. So Ramayate Iti Rama. The Ram here means Radha Raman. That Radha and Ramana means Krishna has become even more happy in their meeting now. Then Hari Ram, the second one, they're fully immersed in the new joy of meeting again. But separation is again pending because at the end of the new Leela, right, Krishna will have to go back to tend to the cows and bring them home. And Radhika will have finished, quote, her worship of the sun. And she'll have to go back to begin to cook in the evening. You understand? So then, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. Now they're again separated. But in the Hari Hari, again, they're going to be coming to meet. So this creates a whole cycle. You understand?
Yeah.
Of meeting and separation. Meeting and separation are the basis of love. So love is realized in the Nam. But love means also the object and subject of the love, which are Radha and Krishna, their associates, the place where their love takes place, which means the Dham, and the different activities in which the love is manifest is called Lila. So all of those things are present in the name, and when we chant purely, without offense, and in a mature state, those are the things that start to become realized in the heart. But many devotees are chanting, and they're only chanting the akshar of the name, means the letters of the name.
Yeah.
So we know this is an auspicious thing to do. So we're chanting every day, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And okay, I understand you shouldn't commit offenses, so I'll try to follow better. So that Nam is producing what's called Nam Abbas. A shadow of the substance of the name is being produced by that. That Nam Abbas gives the Sukriti, means the pious credits, to meet a sadhu and come under the guidance of a sadhu and hear the things we're talking about, so that the Nam will flush itself out and become realizations. You understand? If you just tell people you're not the body and you're suffering in the material world and chant Hare Krishna to get free from suffering, people will become salvationists, not lovers of God. Or they will think my salvation lies in leaving the material world where I was trying to enjoy and it wasn't working. Now I'm going to go to Goloka Vrindavan and every day will be Sunday feast. You understand? Every day will be the Sunday feast program and I'm enjoying myself. We'll have the kirtan melody there, etc. And I'm really enjoying myself here. But the real nature of enjoyment comes when there's no desire for self-enjoyment. So as long as the idea of getting salvation from the suffering of the material world and going back to Godhead for that purpose is there, you cannot catch the full expression of love. Because love is anya abhilasita sunya. It's void of any other desire except anukulyena krishnanusilanam, the desire for Krishna's happiness. What is Krishna's ultimate happiness? What will make Krishna the most happy? Association with Srimati Radhika. And you're given a position where you can arrange that as a manjari. That's called happiness. Understand? This is called bhakti. This is called chanting Hare Krishna, etc. Understand? Any other questions or comments? We will wait till next week to do the next verse. Next verse is also a very, very powerful verse. Very powerful. Both explanations are very, very powerful, actually.
Question. Good day.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Oh.
Haribol.
I'll wait.
Okay, who had a question?
Oh, I just had a comment. I was just going to say thank you. Very inspiring.
Hari Namananda Prabhu. Jai, Haribol.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed the last few classes, but very inspirational and gave me some ideas for something. So I'll be speaking with you all about this soon.
Okay,
but thank you so much for the class.
Were you traveling again, Prabhuji?
Yes, I had some family emergencies, so I was traveling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully everything is okay.
Yes, everything's good now.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yes. One question.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Trivikram Prabhu, you had a question?
We're all done about norms.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm struggling to keep notes today. I feel like I haven't done super great at it. Could you just summarily give me a description of the mood of Radhika for my notebook?
Yes. What I'm going to do is I may send you, I'll try to get Parvati Didi to send you. I cannot send them all out because that becomes overburdening. But I know that you're trying to keep these notes, trying to keep them straight. I may ask her to send you the summary report. And that has all the things I'm saying in it. But I will summarize for you again here. Radhika is the epitome. Now, let me not sidetrack here because I've heard many people say the epitome. But my wife insists that is not the actual word. It is epitome. Right? But then I've heard different people say epitome. And so anyway, we've always gone back and forth. Anyway, but the height of what is called love is called Madan, M-A-D-A-N-A, Madana, Madan, N-A-K-A-Y-A, Madanakya, Maha, M-A-H-A, Bhav, B-H-A-V-A. So this Madanakya Mahabhav is the accumulation of all the different levels of praying leading up to the full personification of it in Radhika herself. Her very form is composed of this Madanakya Mahabhav. This is the height of love for Krishna. We cannot have that same love. So as a servant of Krishna, we can serve Radhika's love towards Krishna That mood is called manjari-bhava. Manjari. Bhav. Bhava. So that mood is the speciality that Lord Chaitanya, when he descended, he came to give to the jivas in this world. One can realize that mood when they come under guidance of Guru, especially if Guru has that same mood, and they take up the chanting of the mantra while simultaneously hearing Harikatha, which is what we're doing now. The combination of those two things waters the taste for that mood in the heart of a disciple. So when the disciple's chanting, hearing the Harikatha and doing the chanting serves as a watering and nourishing facility for the interest. It starts as a basic interest called faith, comes to become a ruchi, a taste and a desire to have that kind of mood. Then in maturation, that blossoms into an actual substantive reality called bhav. B-H-A-V-A. Bhav here means when that desire for service you have in a particular mood comes to fruition, it manifests in your consciousness. So even though you still have a material body, your inner realization is that I am actually so-and-so manjari, the servant under Rupa Manjari, under my Guru Rupa Sakhi, means under your Guru Dev. He has his own spiritual name, her own spiritual name, which is revealed as you become more mature. And I'm serving under that. If by chance you have a different mood, which will come out in your maturation, like you're in Sakyarasa, then if the Guru's in Madhurya Rasa, he can still help. But if it's vice versa, like if you have the mood of wanting Manjari Seva, but your Guru Dev is situated in Sakyarasa, you'll have to go to a Guru in Manjari-bhava to get Manjari Bhajan Siksha. Understand? So this is the sum and substance. This is the pinnacle, which is Radhika's mood, right? And then how we serve that mood is called manjari-bhava. That is the prominent mood in our line. Like if you go back from one guru to another, like from your Guru Dev to my Guru Dev, to his Guru Dev, to Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, Gorkasharas Babaji, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Jagannath, all the manjari. Baladev Vijabhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Narottam, Srinivas, Shamananda, all manjaris. Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami's Kasturi Manjari. Then Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatt Goswami. Who else now? Gopal Bhatt Goswami. Gopal Bhatt Goswami. Who am I missing? Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. All six are all manjari. Lokanath Goswami, Bhurgav Goswami, manjari. Understand? So all are manjaris.
Mukunda.
Yeah, I realize that, Parvati. Just that one exception, and then I'll work out with other people because it'd be too much if you're trying to do everybody.
Can you explain why someone in Sakyaras cannot give manjari-bhava?
Yes, because in Sakyarasa, a description is given in the 8th chapter of the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. It mentions that Madhurya Rasa is almost like the earth. All of the preceding elements like fire, water, air, ether, they're all contained in the earth. In a similar way, all of the different moods are contained in Madhurya Rasa. So a person who's situated in Madhurya Rasa, they can give Siksha to Bhajan in any other Rasa. There may be specialities that are there, but they can give basic Bhajan Siksha in any other Rasa. But if a person is in Sakya Rasa, there are specific moods inherent in Madhurya Rasa, which is not available to them. The example we have is that Shaimananda, he was originally a disciple of Hridoy Chaitanya. Hridoy Chaitanya is a disciple of Gauridas Pandit, and they're both in Sakya Rasa. So when Shamananda Prabhu's mood began to mature, Lord Chaitanya sent him to Vrindavan to study with Jiva Goswami. So he received his bhajan siksha from Jiva Goswami, who's Vilas Manjari. You understand? And he's known as Kanaka Manjari. So Shamananda's Kanaka Manjari in his original Swarup. So like this, if a person is in Madhurya Ras, they can do bhajan siksha for all. If the person's in Sakya Ras, they can do up to Sakya Ras. We should also be careful. This is not a mundane metric that one is better than the other. Understand? Because each person who has a particular rasa is completely filled in that particular mood. So there's no lacking in any particular mood of service towards Krishna. Just so that we are clear. So another question is often, how do I know which mood I'm in? If you see someone and you see that they're in their third year of law school, what do you think their profession is going to be? Lawyer. Similarly, if you track your spiritual unfoldment, if you find yourself in the association of guru, and that guru is by their inner mood in manjari-bhava, what do you think that may tell you? Do you think it's accident that you came across that guru? Not accident. In some rare occasion, a 1% occasion, 2% occasion, it could be that the ruchi of Sakya-ras was picked up in a particular, in your initial samskar. Then in the association of that guru, who even though they may be a manjari-bhava, your Sakya-rasa will be fully brought out. What is the example of this? This is in Jaiva Dharma, that Gopal Guru Goswami, he gave siksha to both Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, and one was in Sakya-ras and one was in Madhurya Rasa. You understand? But he gave bhajan siksha to both of them on different days, because the siksha would be different. But we should think, if I've contacted Guru, my Guru Dev is in manjari-bhava, then it's not an accident, just like karma is very exacting. The particular family, race, status of life, everything that you're born into is a result of karma. And karma is very exacting. So we should not think our spiritual impressions coming from previous lives is any less exacting. That means who I've come in contact with, where my genuine illumination is coming from, whether it was my Diksha Guru or Siksha Guru, it will be indicative of what my actual rasa is. And then in maturation, that will come out. Because Krishna and Bhakti Shakti is organizing so that your mood can be manifest. So if you're aspiring to be a doctor, the school counselor is not going to send you to the pre-law program. You understand? Or the engineering program. Understand? Again, there are rare exceptions.